Page 21. Therefore there is no happy reward for those amongst you who do evil, pray to a god or tin god, because they give themselves over to the guilt of the abject worship of a divinity thought up by people of your kind, or human beings, or of a tin god, from which they only harvest anxiety and fear as their ultimate reward. Those who do not respect the current life and throw it away, whether through clear self-killing or suicide, or out of carelessness, are devoid of all rationality and of the knowledge, because they are destroying learning opportunities for their swelling or evolution of their inner world or consciousness development, which they will have to work on again in a new life as a new all of themself or personality, through arduous learning. Therefore, the arduousness of learning is not reduced by this. Rather, they destroy their own initiative for their own learning opportunity. There were many proclaimers, prophets, who in truth brought the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life, and representatives followed in their footsteps who explained the evident signs, or proofs, of the truth of the prophets, and bore witness to their truthfulness. But you did not want to listen to them, neither to the prophets nor to the representatives. So, every time that a herald of the truth teaching comes to you, which is something you yourselves do not wish for, do you want to be arrogant and continue to insult the proclaimers, prophets, their representatives, and the other heralds of the teaching of the truth, calling them liars, treating them as deceivers, and strike them dead? Truly, your senses and your rationality and your intellect are wrapped in shrouds, because you curse yourselves for the sake of your unknowledge, because what you really know is only very little. You plead for fulfillment of what you want to have, and you plead to be victorious over those whom you assume or deem to be your enemies, because you do not understand that you shall not appoint any others to be your enemies. And, nevertheless, you do not restrain yourselves from doing this. When you are granted what you wish, then you throw it away again and bring down bane on your heads, or mental block equals consciousness, thoughts, feelings, and psyche. Bad is that for which you sell your honor and dignity, because you reject, disregard, and tread underfoot the truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power, or creation, for which reason no grace will be bestowed on your heads, and nothing can come to you which will make you really happy and full of gladness. Therefore you only bring down Gewalt and rage upon rage, and anger upon anger on yourselves, in order finally to deteriorate into blind submissiveness, and to depart from the life as unknowing ones, and ones without equitableness, or unfair ones / inequitable ones / irresponsible ones. And if you are told that you shall know everything about what had been given since time immemorial through the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life, then you do not want to know it hereafter when you are taught it, although it is the truth, and everything is affirmed by the reality. Why do you harm and slaughter your proclaimers, your prophets, who bring you the teaching of the truth, teaching of the life, teaching of the Spirit, if you believe yourselves to be so knowing and human? And truly it has been, since time immemorial, only the real proclaimers, the prophets, who taught you the truth, but you preferred to listen to the false prophets of your imaginary God, your gods, your tin gods. So you have fallen prey to them in worship and have become malefactors, or irresponsible ones, against the truth of the fruitfulness, or creation, and its laws and recommendations. Bad is that for which people of your kind, or human beings, have sold your prosperity and adversity, namely for a suppliant and abject belief in an invented and non-being divinity, and in tin gods of all kinds to whom you pay homage, because you do not recollect the manifest teaching of the truth of the proclaimers, the prophets, who brought their teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life, to everyone, and will continue to bring it to those who want to hear and learn it. And because things are done in this wise, you bring down anger upon upon you bring down anger upon anger. You bring down anger upon anger on your heads from out of yourselves, and punish yourselves through lovelessness, unpeace, unfreedom, joylessness, lying, cheating, and inequality or disharmony. When you are told that you shall be knowing in the real truth, then you lie that you are knowing, and that you understand the truth, however, only in order to curse the knowledge about it hereafter, although the real truth is the actual truth that is affirmed by the laws of the primal power or creation and natural laws, from which all existence of everything existing has originated. Therefore you prefer to slay the proclaimers, the prophets, of the truth teaching, rather than being honest to yourselves and to people of your kind or fellow human beings, and turning yourselves to the eternal truth. Many a proclaimer, prophet, came to you with manifest signs or marvels, which you, however, disregarded maliciously and imperiously, and therefore you committed an outrage against the truth, and continue to do so today, because you have fallen into the worship of divinities and tin gods, which neither possess rationality nor intellect, nor the slightest fiber of might, so that they could not even make one hair on your heads turn gray. Remember the teaching of the proclaimers, the prophets, and hold fast to that what they have given to you, and listen to their teaching of the real truth, so you understand that you have to raise yourselves up to the truth, and obey yourselves in this truth, so that you set yourselves free from the unknowledge. Do not impose any belief on yourselves, and turn to the knowledge of the truth in order to attain wisdom and true love. The dwelling of the impalpable, or other world, is only for the consistency of the spirit, however, not for the person, because this is extinguished after dying in order to give energy and power to a new person who will be born when the spirit body, or spirit form, once again returns in a body of people of your kind, or human body. Therefore, do not call for death in order to find in it a release from earthly anguish, because death extinguishes the person for all time, and it can never again be made living. And death shall never be called upon in the hope that an existence at the side of a god, or in a paradise or realm of gods and tin gods, might be a joyful life, because such teachings have no truth and are only the delusions of the brain of false priests, proclaimers, and prophets, who have misled you into senselessness, because they obtain advantages, relevance, and benefits from it. If you are truthful, then search for the real truth, and call for it, for the sake of what the proclaimers, the prophets, have said to you in advance concerning knowledge regarding the teaching, so that you do not remain malefactors, or irresponsible ones, against the truth, but that you turn to it. Amongst you, the ones who are most greedily searching for life are the ones who are only striving for enjoyment, vice, amusement, stinginess, revelry, indulgence, pathological craving, salaciousness, gorging, gluttony, and desires, vices, or wantonness / pathological cravings / urges, and who do not pay heed to the real truth, nor to fulfillment of the laws and recommendations of the primal power or creation. And indeed every one of you wishes in his or her greedy activities to be granted 1,000 years of life, in which case, however, you do not consider that even the granting of such a life would not protect you from your own atonement if you do not fulfill the sense of the life that is given in the swelling, or evolution, of the inner world or consciousness, and the accumulation of love, knowledge, wisdom, peace, freedom, and harmony in all things. Whoever is an enemy of the truth that arises from the laws and recommendations of the fruitfulness, or creation, vilifies or proscribes not only their fulfillment, but also the messages, revelations, and guidance of the proclaimers, the prophets. Whoever is an enemy of the truth is also an enemy of the laws and recommendations of the primal power or creation, and an enemy of the natural laws, as well as an enemy of the proclaimers, the prophets. Truly, the proclaimers, the prophets of the teaching of the truth, teaching of the Spirit, teaching of the life, have brought forth manifest signs, or marvels/evidence, since time immemorial, and nobody denied their knowledge of this other than the wiseacres, the disobedient ones, and the liars and slanderers. And as often as they concluded an agreement with the truth and the teaching, then they rejected it again, because they are depraved and mendacious and truly without knowledge. Even since time immemorial, when proclaimers, prophets, came to fulfill what the teaching of the truth as well as the principles of the primal power or creation demand them to do, very many of those to whom the teaching and the truth was given cast all the knowledge behind them, as if the teaching and the truth had never been announced or proclaimed to them. Many of them followed the way that they pursued under the dominance of agitators against the teaching of the truth and the teaching of the Spirit, as well as the teaching of the life, and it was agitators who remained in the unknowledge and taught the people deception and falsehood. And it was representatives to whom it was revealed by the proclaimers, the prophets, to instruct the unknowing ones, and put them to the test, and say that they shall not remain ones who have no knowledge of the truth. The proclaimers, the prophets, taught their representatives and the people that no one shall do harm to any other, and that a distinction shall be made between man and woman in many things, but that both shall accompany one another in life with the same right, with the same entitlement, and in equality, as is given by the laws and recommendations of the primal power, or creation. It was and is taught that everything shall be desisted from which does harm, and gives no benefit. Whoever acquires such things, nevertheless, will not have any joyful portion in life. But it is true that so many sell their happiness and their gladness for awful things, for scum, and all the terrible things of the world, because knowledge and truth is abhorrent to them. If you would have known and acted rightly, then the reward for your present existence would certainly have been better, and your life reward would be better if you turned to the real truth, and therefore to the primal power or creation, and acted rightly. Oh, you have fallen into belief, and you say that the untruth is good. But know and hear that only truth and the true knowledge are good, whereas untruth and unknowledge only bring painful hardship and affliction. Those who are unknowing amongst the people, in the writing of the truth teaching, and amongst those who place divinities and tin gods beside their primal power or creation, the primal power or creation, they all do not wish that good is sent down on all those who in truth have knowledge of the teaching of the truth, But the truth chooses boon and unmeasurable grace for those who are knowing of the truth. Whatever signs or teaching / evidence and marvels the proclaimers, the prophets, abrogate or allow to fall into forgetfulness, in their place they bring forth better or equivalent ones according to the new time, because the new times demand expansions to the teaching of the truth and the signs or evidence and marvels. You namely become more intelligent and expand your knowledge, which is why the teaching of the truth, teaching of the Spirit, teaching of the life, must be given more extensively and in greater detail in accordance with the new time and the new understanding. However, what does not change is the truth content of the teaching, because the truth is eternal and unchanging, and the true prophets have the might to do everything in order to carry out the teaching as they consider right. However, protect yourselves from false proclaimers, false prophets, who simulate wisdom but are actually less knowing than children and have fallen into the belief in some divinity or other, or tin gods. Do you not know that the domain of the firmament, or universe, and of the earths, or worlds / planets, belongs to the primal power or creation alone, but that you are set above all as governors, as protectors, and helpers for yourselves, for all life and everything existing? Do you want to ask your proclaimers, your prophets, as the knowing ones and the wise ones asked them before, in order to avoid entering in unknowledge into an exchange with a belief in divinities and tin gods, and in order not to err in doubt from the right way? Many of the people who are not favorably disposed to the writing of the truth and to the truth wish in the enviousness of their nature, although the teaching of the truth has been clearly announced or proclaimed to them, that they could discourage those of you who are yourselves knowing in the writing of the truth, and the truth itself, from your cognition of the truth and following of the truth, in order to change you back into one's unknowing of the truth. But do not be angry because of this, and forgive them by proclaiming to them that it is your decision not to deviate from the truth and not to turn away from them, because you continue to be connected to them in love. You have the might to do so. Do your duty and fulfill your responsibility, which can only be carried by yourselves, and not by a god or tin gods on your behalf. Therefore, also give alms, or gifts, to the people in need, and send out goodness from yourselves, because you will find it again as thanks from those to whom you give your help. And truly, your goodness and your help will be appreciated, because the people of your kind, or human beings, will see what you are doing. The believers in a god and in tin gods say that believers in other things, who are not of their belief, will not enter the firmament's paradise, or realm of gods and tin gods. But such talk only represents fallible teachings and vain wishes of those who are going into confusion in the belief, and erroneously hope that a god or tin god might live in a firmament's paradise, or realm of god and tin gods. Indeed, this is an evil, fallacious teaching for which the in-the-belief fallible ones can never provide truthful evidence. Whoever entirely falls in line with the laws and recommendations of the primal power or creation, and the laws of appearance or nature, will receive an appropriate reward for all time in equitableness or fairness, and will have no anxiety and not be afraid, nor will they fall into false sorrow. The ones who believe in a god and tin gods say that people who believe otherwise have no basis for their belief, and the ones who believe otherwise say that the others have no basis for their belief, although they both read the writings of their respective belief, which all say that they shall also be equivalent and tolerant in belief. And in accordance with their speaking, so spoke those already who did not have any knowledge of the writings. Therefore they judged fallibly amongst themselves, because they were disunited amongst themselves. And who is more inequitable, or more irresponsible / more unfair, than those who pile dishonor and ignominy on their next ones in belief in a god or tin gods? They are the same as the inequitable ones, or unfair ones, who prevent the real truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal power, or creation, from being taught through the teaching of the truth, the teaching of the Spirit, the teaching of the life, because they are striving to destroy it. And truly, it is not appropriate to do such a thing, because it is without respect and an ignominy in this world. But those who do such a thing will not reap any good reward. To you on the earth roundness is given the east, the west, the south, and the north, and wherever you turn. And therefore the real truth of the principles of the primal power or creation, and natural principles, which is to be found in an unlimited wise, pay attention to it, and make it your own. Then it will go well with you. Everything in the firmaments, or universe, and on earths, or worlds/planets, is the work of the creation, but it has made it for you to be yours, so that you might control everything respectfully, guide everything correctly, and do everything for your own benefit and that of everything living and otherwise existing. Therefore, everything in the firmaments, or universe, and on earth, or earth, has been given to you as your own, for you to care for well and protect, so that nothing turns into the spilling of blood, or into destruction, through getting very badly out of the control of the good human nature. The creation alone is the creation of the firmaments, or universe, and of the earths, or worlds/planets. It formed the idea from which everything became. The unknowing ones ask why their god or their tin god does not speak to them, does not appear to them face to face, and does not give them any signs or miracles. But this was already how those people spoke who were not connected to the truth before you, because they did not comprehend or recognize, and did not understand the truth and the laws and recommendations of the primal power or creation, as you do not comprehend them. The questions by the old and new unknowing ones are the same, because they did not understand the signs, or teaching/evidence and marvels, given by the prophets, although these were made obvious for everyone so that they would be understood. However, they did not understand, because they were trapped by their belief in gods and tin gods, and went into confusion, just as you also in the time of the current day go into confusion, as ones without knowledge of the truth, which is why you shall learn from the prophets.